Welcome everyone to the Self Improvement Podcast. This is the second episode of our leadership pillar or season, if you will. We are here to help you guys become better leaders and better human beings in general. And we come from a humble place, of course. We're not saying that we're perfect, but that's our mission here, is to bring you personal development info and ideas so that you can grow at school or at your job, whatever the case might be. Without further ado, let's get into it. Do you want to introduce our topic, Dalton?
Yeah, so today we're talking about the 4 laws of leadership. So these are the principles that you can use to lead effectively. Jocko coins this as the 4 laws of combat, though this can be applied to anything in life, I believe, any leadership stance.
Jocko who?
Jocko Willink.
Ah.
Yeah, a lot of this information, as I stated before, is pulled from his book, Leadership Strategy and Tactics. So if you want even more leadership advice, I highly recommend that you take that book and you read it and all that good stuff. So the first law for the laws of leadership is cover and move. Now, cover and move is basically just teamwork. That could be you covering somebody for their shift. That could be you literally helping somebody with a task. And all these laws revolve around the hierarchy of leadership, which we talked about in the last episode, which is about putting the mission, the team, the individuals in the team all above yourself. In the military, cover and move obviously is a lot about suppressive fire. So let's say you got somebody down and injured, you need somebody to grab him, you're going to want to put down some suppressive fire so that you can retrieve the body and tend to his wounds. So while you're putting down the suppressive fire, you got your medic going out and then taking care of that soldier. Or if you want to advance on the enemy, same thing. I'm going to put down some suppressive fire so your team can move up, and then they're going to put some suppressive fire so you can join them. Now, in life, like I said, this could be about covering somebody's shift. It could be about just helping someone with a task. For example, my boss, Zach, is a personal trainer, and I come in to work out at the YMCA while he's on duty, and he's training with the client. When he's training with the client, he can't do all of the tasks required of him, so I like to come in and help him out a little bit. Maybe I clean off a piece of equipment, or I refill the spray bottles, or I bring them downstairs, or I refill the refill jug. And what that does is it helps build relationships, and when you build relationships, it allows you to have more influence over that person so that you can better accomplish whatever mission you have. That's cover and move.
An example from the business world, which I am mostly into, is as my company grows, I see an opportunity for me to hire people, right? And that goes for most businesses. And when I'm in that position, I have to apply the principle of cover and move. Because when there are more people wanting to work with me and a lot of responsibility, I obviously can't do all of it. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, and in business there's just a lot to handle. You got the sales, you got the marketing, you got the product fulfillment or product creation, depending on your model. And an example would be me hiring salespeople, because I can't sell an infinite number of people a day using the model I'm using. It's not very passive, it's actually very involved, very one-on-one. So when I hire these salespeople, I want to give them the ability to make the decision when it comes to whether or not someone is a great fit to work with my company and to get the results they desire. So they have to cover for me so that as a team and as a company, we're moving forward. It's my responsibility to train and make sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, but I'm delegating some responsibility. And that's kind of how it works in my world.
So yeah, Ian actually brought up one of the other laws in that, which is decentralized command. And what decentralized command is giving your subordinates the ability to lead and make decisions without having to go to the top leader. Because when one person is making all the decisions, then that's centralized command. And the problem with centralized command is micromanagement. If you have one person making all the decisions, then your subordinates and your team members aren't going to be able to make decisions for themselves, and progress will be slowed and most likely halted. In the military, decentralized command is really important because when you're in a firefight and you got enemies shooting at you and you're separated from your commander, you're not gonna run over to him and ask, "Can I engage the enemy?" You're gonna have to take fire, suppress the fire, cover and move, so that you can make forward progress. And that's the thing about decentralized command, is enabling your subordinates to make those decisions. So you have to make sure that they know that they have that capability. And it has a lot to do with trust. You have to trust them. And maybe at first you don't trust them with making such big decisions. It's like if you're lending money to a friend, you're not going to start off by giving them $1,000 because you may never see that money again. You want to start off with maybe $10, and then if they return that, you can work up to 20, 30, 50, 100, 200. So it's a lot about trust. One thing about decentralized command that makes it so great is when people feel like they have the capability to make decisions on their own, to work towards the greater purpose, the mission, then they can make things happen. For instance, at the YMCA yesterday, 2 days ago, the power went out. And so yesterday, we were having some issues with our computer systems and, checking people in. So the people at the Welcome Center had to manually type in their barcode. And I don't work in the Welcome Center, I work in the Wellness Center. However, with decentralized command, I knew I could do something to take action to help the Wellness Center. And what I did is I went down there, I tried to troubleshoot the Wi-Fi, and I ended up switching the scanner to a different computer. Funny enough, one of the people that worked at the Wellness Center was like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't do that without asking somebody first." And that's true, although it would have made it more difficult for people to come in. It would slow the process and it probably wouldn't guarantee customer satisfaction.
Yeah, an example from my coaching business is I want to give people the power to, specifically artists, those are my clients, I want to give them the power to be as independent as possible and to work on the future efficiently. So I teach them time management skills, I teach them goal setting skills, marketing skills, finding their own niche market in the entertainment industry through branding, and a lot. And the goal, and this is what makes it so valuable, is for them to lead all by themselves. And when they hire people, they can do that too because they acquired the skills. Instead of being just this company that does the marketing for them, I want to do it with them so that eventually they can do it on their own. And I feel like that's what makes what I do valuable to me and to the people that I serve.
Yeah, and to be able to get people to lead
Mhm.
and to have decentralized command, you need to be able to be simple and clear. That's another law of leadership. So if Ian isn't simple and clear with how to engage clients, then they're not going to be able to engage clients effectively.
Yes. Yeah, and when I got started early in my business, I just made these complicated approaches and systems and ways I should present stuff. But right now, it's more about listening and being present and then presenting what people actually want. And that simplified it a lot for me. And because I use this principle of making it simple, I've been able to land more clients, help more people. And that sounds very true. Even for the people that I have enrolled, a lot of the time I have to 80/20 the content that I'm going to be teaching for them to get the best results possible. 80/20 meaning that 20% of the information and the guidance is going to get them 80% of the results they're looking for. And then just focusing on that, the top 20%, makes it simple and more effective.
Nice. In the military, since I keep throwing out these military examples, simple is important because when you're in a combat environment and you break out into a firefight, if you have that commander's intent of what the goal is and what the strategic mission is, and you have all these other elements coming in, it's going to be easier to execute that mission. Now, if you have a complex mission with complex steps, it's going to be hard to remember everything you need to do in the heat of the moment. I'm going to shout out my superior, Zach Ponce, again for being such a great leader, because he did this for me on my orientation at the YMCA. He basically just gave me everything I needed to do, didn't show me exactly how I did it, how I had to do everything, which enabled me to take extreme ownership and believe in the mission, because he wasn't saying, oh, do this like this and micromanaging me. And I was able to write down all the tasks and do everything to the best of my ability. The last law of leadership is prioritize and execute. When you are focusing on too many things at once, you're not going to get anything done. So you need to figure out what the biggest priority problem is and solve it, and then move on to the next one, and then to the next one.
Yeah, that goes for your personal life, for your business, for leading others. One thing we do, Dalton and I, in our mastermind, which is a weekly meeting, it's a brief meeting where we set goals and almost kind of coach each other and keep each other accountable. One thing we do is we talk about what went well and then what didn't go so well. And for the stuff that didn't go so well, we pick the top 3 areas and then we make those a priority. And then we set intentions and plans in place to make sure that those priorities are met, because they were struggles last week. So this week, let's make sure we work on them. And that's made a difference in the past, and now we're focusing even more on it. And we'll keep you guys updated for sure on that approach. But already right now, we feel better because we know what to focus on. And just having those 3 priorities in mind is crucial, because we set a lot of goals, but we always circle back to those top 3 things that need extra attention and would make the most difference.
Yeah, prioritize and execute helps you not be a deer in headlights and freeze and get hit by a car. I read this book called Extreme Ownership, which is by Jocko Willink and his fellow Navy SEAL brother, Leif Babin. And one of the things they talk about was a situation where they were posted up in a building and there was an IED, improvised explosive device, in the entrance. I don't know how it got there while they were in there, but it's not important. What is important is what they did when they had to leave, which was they broke a hole through the wall on the 2nd story so that they could escape without setting off the IED. Upon doing this, everybody going onto the roof, one person took a couple steps too far and fell through the roof and injured himself to the point where he couldn't move. And instead of being deer stuck in the headlights, they prioritize and execute. So first they set up security, then they sent a couple guys down to grab the guy, bring him up, and then third they exited the area. An example in my life how I prioritize and execute is with my goals. So before, I was struggling to accomplish all of my goals because I didn't have my priorities straight, and I'd go on my phone and get distracted by social media. And so what I decided to do was prioritize my goals before my social media use. And so I'm not allowed to use social media until I've accomplished all of my goals, which thus far has helped me accomplish every single goal for over a week and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been winning lately with his goals.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna keep this up by applying these 4 principles, which in summary were: 1, cover and move.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, teamwork and knowing how to move together. Number 2 was keeping things simple and straight to the point, so it's easier to follow for you and for other people.
Yep.
3 was prioritization and focusing on that 20% that is going to get you 80% of the results we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4th was
Decentralized command,
decentralized command,
allowing your subordinates to lead and make decisions.
mm-hmm. Thus making the overall system of your, I guess, leadership entity or company, you could call it, a lot more fluid and independent because it moves on its own. The command is decentralized. It doesn't hinges on one person.
Yep.
So those are the 4 laws of leadership, you could say. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Do you have any final thoughts, Dalton?
I don't really, no.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. If you guys have any questions or would love to share this episode with people, that would help a lot. We're looking to reach as many people as possible so that this information can help as many people as possible. And a final note is that next week we're going to have a guest on our podcast.
His name is Jeff. I'm not sure what I could look up his last name, though. You'll figure it out in the next podcast. He is a leadership coach, which, fits this portion of the podcast perfectly.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of examples from the real world, a lot of stuff that you can apply to your life. And he's a very knowledgeable person from what I've heard. So I'm looking forward to bringing that information to you guys. With that being said,
thank you guys for coming to the Self-Improvement Podcast. We hope you've learned some lessons where you can improve your leadership and yourself and just win at life. We'll see you next time.